All right, here we go. No editing, one take. All right. So I want to call this my what if video. I had this idea, the last few years actually, I had this idea of making what I would call my death video, okay? So I know that sounds kind of creepy and eerie, but I was like, what if every year I made a my death video where I would get a camera in front of me and I would kind of communicate my thoughts on life lived up to that point so that, hey, if I die this year, then you'd have a great video to play at my funeral. So here we go. I'm going to call this not my death video. I'll call it my what if video. What if 2020 was my last year? What would I say to you guys? So here we are. Set the stage. There's my body right in front of you. You're at my funeral. You're all there to remember me. What would I say to you guys? Well, first things first, let's get the important things out of the way. Number one, there will be no ham and cheesy potatoes at this funeral, okay? You need to honor that, all right? So, hey, we're having wings. The Mountain Dew's gonna be flowing after the service. You're all invited. I'm inviting you to be my guest, all right? There we go. But I guess if this was my last video to make, I would just simply say, Jesus was worth it. Jesus was worth living for. And I would tell you again my story about how I didn't grow up knowing Jesus and didn't grow up in a family that knew Christ and talked about living for Jesus and growing up in a divorced home and a broken family and how that created so much confusion in my life and hurt and pain and things on the inside that I didn't know how to deal with. But I can still remember when I first heard about Jesus, when I was first told that there's a God who loved me and gave his life for me so that I wouldn't perish. I remember first hearing that there was a heaven and that there was a hell and how I'd never really heard that message before. Now, I didn't embrace it right away, and I was just a junior higher at that time. I probably didn't really understand all that meant to be a follower of Jesus, but man, when I was a senior in high school, God would bring people into my life once again, one of which was my wife, to share Jesus with me. And I can still remember to this day, fall of 1996, when I was at North Central Bible College, hearing the voice of God for the first time in my life and hearing God say to me, Jeremiah, I have a plan and a purpose for your life. I want to do things in you that you've never dreamed or imagined, but I need you to make a choice. Which way do you want to choose? And man, that day I chose Jesus and he flipped the script of my life and he took me from a young man who had no direction to a calling of God that has led me to this place today of pastoring a church and man, doing missions trips and all kinds of stuff that I've gotten to do since Jesus. So I want to tell you today that Jesus is worth it and Jesus radically changed my life and he changes everything. So if you're watching this video today, if you are, I would challenge you to give your life to Jesus Christ. But here's what happens when you give your life to Jesus is number one, the first thing I remember is that God brings amazing things into your life when you choose to follow him. The first one was my wife. Now, again, for some of you, we can go back in the day and you probably think, oh, you just got saved because Rachel's so amazing and so beautiful. But it wasn't necessarily like that at first. I remember I had a unsaved girlfriend, all these kind of things. But later I would fall in love with Rachel and she would become the greatest thing that I've ever had in my life. And so I love her so much. And I hope on this video that she would feel the same way. But she's been amazing. And that's what's awesome. All along the journey of faith, Jesus has brought so many people into my life that are just amazing. I mean, I'm in Carthage, Missouri today, all because of one phone call with a guy named Eddie Stevens that talked to me about this church named Grace Point and potentially being the pastor. And man, now since I've come here, I have relationships. I can't even imagine life without Kelly and Belinda Stevens. I can't imagine life without Rick and Stella Maynard. I can't imagine life without Mitch and Maggie Boyku. I can't imagine life without Kevin and Lisa Patterson. Man, all these amazing people, Don and Ella May, and I'm sorry if I'm forgetting names, but it's all right because I'm dead now, so you can't be mad at me anymore. But God brings so many amazing people, has brought amazing people into my life. He has that first word that he spoke to me so long ago, it came true. that he had a plan and a purpose for my life. And he did things in my life that I never dreamed or imagined. Man, my whole journey has been filled with things I never thought I would do, countries that I got to go to that I never thought I would go to. But I guess if this was my last video, I'd want to one last time let my family know how much I love them, that I'm so grateful for my wife, Rachel, that God brought her. He knew what I needed, man. He knew what I needed. Everything she is exactly what I needed in my life. I'm so grateful for my kids, like Zoe. She's a beautiful woman of God. She is a calling. I can see her walking and living out everything God's called her to be. Gabrielle, she's so passionate. I just pray, and I know she's going to use that passion for Jesus. For the boys right now, they're crazy, but I see the calling of God in their life. And I will challenge you, my kids, Zoe, Gabrielle, Isaiah, Hezekiah, you need to follow Jesus. I know your dad didn't do it perfectly. Your mom didn't do it perfectly, but please follow Jesus. He's so worth it. And that's my call to you as your father, is that's the only thing that matters in this life, is following Jesus. And to all my other family and to friends, I say, man, I love you guys so much. So grateful that I'm a Christian. So grateful that I found Jesus. And if you're watching this video today, if you're watching this, you need Jesus, man. You need Jesus in your life. So to all of you on this What If video for 2020, I just say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to know you, to be your friend, to be your pastor, to be whatever I was to you. But I leave you with this. Jesus is worth it. Jesus is everything, and he's been everything in my life. And now, he'll be everything for all of eternity. And I look forward to seeing you there.